Hi everyone, welcome back to our class. In this video, we will see how to write a code in Java to determine the factorial of a number. So at first, what is a factorial? Suppose if you consider a number as n, so here n can be any number like 1, 2, 3 and so on. Suppose n is a number, so to find the factorial of n, it is denoted by n factorial. So the factorial of n is n factorial. So here n factorial is equals to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into and so on 2 into 1. So once we get 1, then we need to stop here. Okay, suppose if you consider n as 5, then 5 factorial is 5 into n minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, 4 into n minus 2, that is 5 minus 2, 3 into and next n minus 3, that is 5 minus 3, 2 into n minus 4, that is 5 minus 4, 1. So as we get 1 here, we need to stop here. Therefore 5 into 4 20, 23 is a 60, 62 is a 120, 120 into 1 120. So 5 factorial is 120. So this is how we need to find the factorial of a number. Now let us try to write a code in Java to. So at first I will write the code and then explain how the code actually works. So at first inside the main method we need to take a variable of type int. So let the variable be facto and assign one value to it. Okay, now we need to take for loop for int I is equals to, so as we are finding 5 factorial, here we need to take I equals to 5 and then condition should be once we get 1, then we need to stop, right? So here I greater or equals to 1 and then here as here at first we got 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So here each time it is getting reduced by 1, right? So here we need to take I equals to I minus 1. So inside the for loop we need to take facto is equals to facto into I. So outside the loop we need to print system.out.print facto. So it gives the factorial of a number, that is 5 we have taken here, facto. Okay, now let us see how it works. So at first we have taken facto equals to 1 and here for loop int I equals to 5. So I greater or equals to 1, that is 5 greater or equals to 1, condition is true. So it enters into the for loop. Here facto equals to facto into I. So facto is 1, I is 5. So 1 into 5, that is 5. So we have 5. So this 5 value will get assigned into facto. So here facto equals to 5, right? Okay, here facto is equals to 5. And then what happens? I get decremented by 1. That is, now we have I equals to 5. So here I equals to I minus 1, that is 5 minus 1. So I becomes 4 here. Okay, then again it checks for the condition. I greater or equals to 1, that is 4 greater or equals to 1. Condition is true. So again it enters into the loop. Again it executes this code, that is facto into I. So we have facto is 5. So 5 into I is 4. 5 into 4 20. So it 5 4s are 20. 20 gets assigned into facto. So here 5 becomes 20. Therefore facto is 20. Then again I get decremented by 1. That is I minus 1. That is initially we have 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Now I becomes 3. It checks for the condition. I greater or equals to 1. 3 greater or equals to 1. Condition is true. Again it enters into the loop. So here what happens? Facto into I. So we have facto is 20. So here facto becomes 20 into I. I value is 3. So here I becomes 3. 23 is a 60. So 60 gets assigned into facto. So here 20 becomes 60. Okay. Then I value get decremented again. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So here becomes 2 I value. Then checks for the condition. 2 greater or equals to 1. Condition is true. Enters into the loop. Facto into I. Facto is 60. Right. Here it becomes 60. I value is 2. So I becomes 2. So 60 into 2 is 120. So here it becomes 120. Okay. I mean 120 gets assigned into facto. So facto becomes 120. Now again I value get reduced by 1. So I minus 1, that is 2 minus 1. It becomes 1. Checks for the condition. I greater or equals to 1. 1 greater or equals to 1. Condition is true. enters into the loop. So factor equals to factor into I. So factor is 120. Okay, that is 120 into I is 1. So 120 into 1 is 120. So it assigned into factor. So here factor becomes 120 because 120 to 1 is 120. So here I gets reduced by 1 again. So initially we have I equals 1. Now I minus 1 is 1 minus 1. So it becomes 0. It checks for the condition I greater or equals to 1. That is 0 greater or equals to 1. Condition is false. So as the condition becomes false, it comes out of the loop. So it will not enter into the loop initially, but it comes out of the loop. So here it prints factor value. So we have factor value is 120. So it prints the output as 120. So this is how we need to write the code that determine the factorial of a number. So thanks for watching the video. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.